Yo, Jarvan is going to find an opportunity in the top lane, going to force out that Shadow Onslaught from Atlas with Weakside Veteran. Here to stuff random capitals, but the Cataclysm is going to force out the flash from Weakside Veteran. Cinetrix arrives to the fight. Spell slinging, but not going to matter. Red Milk Tea does so much damage.
It's like Shelly, to battle. To assault my enemies. All right, let's go.
Oh, Red Milk Tea fighting Atlas, but maybe too deep. Two teleports channeled. A little early, but Cinetrix finds the angle and shuts down Red Milk Tea. Meanwhile, Shurk can flip out. Random Capitals gets body blocked from going in, and then R pushes Weakside Veteran back into danger. Rogue Trader taking a lot of tower shots. Spares feet. Comes through. Random Caps. Yeah. Cinetrix really well. Seraphine, oh my goodness, Red Milk Tea going forward, finding Perpetual Dusk in that catapult. He's gonna blow the Blade Collar, but Red Milk Tea now in trouble. Atlas is going deep for it, not quite gonna find it. Rolling Death is gonna find much either. Atlas connects the B244 for a Rogue Trader! Massive Gnarl finds two! Yeah, Perpetual Dusk doesn't start hitting yet. Cinetrix is going to flash forward and try and find Random Capitals as to where the Zanyas. And now they're gonna look for the fight. Random Capitals gets bursted down instantly. Perpetual Dusk and Evan in a lot of trouble as Graven starts free firing and Naris arrives at the fight. Featherstorm is burned, and now there's a lot of trouble for the side of RSL. They waited too long, and the one pick isn't enough, and the Dragon going over and the kills to boot.
All right, folks, welcome back. Talk about an exciting first two matches for our best of 5 series between the Goofy Goobers and Ragnarok Esports Loki. I'm your friendly neighborhood chatcaster Chargan, and I've got War Leader joining me on this caster desk. War Leader, you've had a chance to watch both of these teams go at it for 2 games. Give me your insights on how you think things are going so far.
Yeah, so we've seen, I think the most decisive part of each game has been in the top lane, in the battle between Rogue Trader and Weakside Veteran. In the first game, Weakside Veteran got a massive advantage on the Poppy. It was able to shut down everything Goofy Goopers tried to go for the rest of the game, and found great picks on the Raccoon Inquirer. Now, in the next game, Gnar versus Gragas, Rogue Trader on that Gnar, able to find a solo kill in that top lane, and able to call up the jungler and get a lot done onto Weakside Veterans. Gragas and Gnar continue to find great engages throughout the game. And it comes down to the way these two top laners have dueled so far, and we're going to have to see if the adaptations in the draft are going to go into that top lane, or if it's going to be about getting the rest of the map to be as important.
Yeah, and you know, it's kind of funny. We talk about the top lane being kind of like that isolated lane, but it's been having a huge impact over here. So it's kind of like, I guess, the source of the tsunamis rather than the lonely island that keeps getting hit by them. And we do see the Akali as a first pick up right here. And there's a couple of champs we look down at the bottom that have been banned out. The Xayah, Poppy, and Nocturne have been very popular. The Volibear as well. Some extremely powerful picks already taken off the board. So it's going to be, it seems like they're really trying to pigeonhole Ragnarok into, Givers is trying to pigeonhole Ragnarok into a playstyle that will benefit them in these upcoming games. So it's going to be interesting to see if this ends up being a 4-match or a 5-match series, and which team really has the stamina to take it to the full distance.
Right, and speaking of that, we've seen Akali versus Ahri in the mid lane for 2 games so far, but Ragnarok Esports decided we need to put Cinetrix on something a little more dedicated as a counter pick, and going towards Lissandra for that answer. Meanwhile, Ezreal blind. It's going to be pretty safe for Perpetual Dusk in that bot lane, just being dove over and over by Red Milk Tea.
Yeah, so with that Ezreal Lissandra pick up, it's kind of one of those things where I like the amount of poke that Ragnarok is pulling out, and so that they're kind of try and play things a little bit more safe. The Caitlyn is a good response to that. I expect Goofy Goobers to also kind of try and pick up something that's pretty heavy on that front line that basically means if Lissandra tries to dive in on those carries, that we're going to see some kind of forced engage, like maybe a Dr. Mundo, or maybe even another Jarvan coming out from Goofy Goobers in order to kind of like really try and basically punish any type of team separation that Ragnarok tries to pull off.
It's going to be Seraphine locked in for Steve the Crusader. Now, Seraphine a very flexible champion, but with mid and ADC locked in, I very much expect Steve to be piloting that once again. Meanwhile, Atlas getting the signature Kindred locked in.
Yeah, with that Kindred lock in, it's going to get really exciting. Although, again, Kindred is one of those champions that you can punish really easily. So Ragnarok's going to need to make sure that they try and protect Atlas and allow him to invade in order to get those Hunter's marks. Because if you shut down the Kindred Hunter marks, you're basically stuck with a short-ranged AD carry that doesn't deal a lot of damage. The ultimate can be super life-saving, which is kind of what Ragnarok seems to be going for with that stall of the Lissandra ultimate as well. I don't know if that's necessarily the best call going to Goofy Goobers, who have shown that they love to play this aggressive style where they love to dive in on top of you. So it's going to be really interesting to see if this ploy ends up playing out in Ragnarok's favor.
Yeah, it's very interesting indeed. I'm surprised to see Goofy Goobers is actually taking away the Gragas that Weak Sided Veteran played last time. Taking away the possible counter picks, they're probably going to give that last pick over to Weak Side Veteran. And that means that's where the bans are going from the side of Goofy Goobers. Meanwhile, Ragnarok Esports trying to take out the junglers that would threaten their kindred in the early game and trying to let Atlas scale up and become a monster in this game, taking away common early game duelists and Zao and Truckle.
Yeah, and let's see here, just kind of like looking at the way things are shaping up right about now. I'm leaning in the direction of Goofy Goobers. I like that Seraphine pick. I feel like it's going to be a really good, and like that Seraphine Caitlyn bot lane, just as a general rule, has some really devastating combos because you can get the lockdown with either the trap for that headshot, or you can guarantee a trap with the Seraphine lockdown as well. So like just that combo right there, lots of disruption. Karma is it's a decent response. I'm not sure if it's the best one. I do think that it's probably a little bit more on the squishy side because we already see the Kindred and the Lissandra coming out from Ragnarok, so I would really have preferred them to pick something up like a Rel or a Leona, some kind of hard engage or tanky support to kind of provide Ezreal with that defensive ability he's got, because he's already got the mobility. When it comes to these team fights later, it could end up biting Ragnarok in the butt.
Evan has looked good on this champion in the 2 games so far, and they are going back to it for that 4th pick for RSL. And Evan has done a great job of playing the exact range of that Karma and applying shields in fights. And instead of one of those real tanky frontliners you were talking about, it's actually going to be Viego, the lock-in for Red Milk Tea.
Well, they did pick up the Mordekaiser, which does kind of fit what I was expecting but it's more of like a harder engage, more of a bruiser. So it's going to be, I do like the pickup of that Viego because you got the resets, which provide a quasi tankiness, you can say, because of the fact that he gets that heal reset. It's going to be, we're already seeing, like I said, the hard engage that Goofy Goobers likes to do. They saw the poke comp from Ragnarok and we're like, you know what? That's fine. We're just going to basically run in on you. And with that Ornn pickup, it's going to be kind of interesting to see how this ends up playing out in these fights, because that is a good disruption for any hard engage that Goofy tries to do.
Yeah, and I really like the Ornn pickup. It's a strong pick that we've been seeing a lot in LCS, and with the way these games have been going, they go the distance every time. And when you have a champion that scales so well with time and allows your entire team to scale well with time, it signals to me that RSL is willing to go the distance on this one. And as we get into the game, we're going to have to see if they can weather the early storm from the side of Goofy Goobers. Now, Goofy Goobers comp also scales pretty well. Akali, Caitlyn, Seraphine, Viego, all are threats in the later stages of the game, and it's going to be a matter of essentially who gets ahead in those like mid-game fights and how these mid-game and late-game fights get played out. Both teams having a lot of tools to do so.
And as we see, we've got kind of like the basic 5-man spread coming out right here, just trying to prevent any invades, which neither team really, I think, wants to do level 1 with these comps. They like, you can get some damage up, but it's really, it's very, very risky and not necessarily going to be the best. It looks like we're seeing a red buff start probably from Viego. I think that's what those pings were for. So he's going to start red buff, go blue buff, hit Wolves Gromp, and then start ganking. So we kind of already see that right there. And I think that's going to allow for him to play around this top lane, which we've been seeing take a huge amount of impact and actually do a lot more across the map overall. So it'll be really interesting to see exactly how this ends up playing out.
Yeah, so far, it's been pretty even so far. Maybe Perpetual Dusk looking for a Mystic shot for some damage. I don't think it's going to come through. Raccoon Inquire's back far off. And once again, we're going to see some perpendicular jungling. Atlas starting leashless in that top side, not going to give too much away about their whereabouts. And Red Milk Tea is starting on the bot side, and RSL are going to know it.
Ooh, and this engage right here, Raccoon could be getting in a little bit of trouble, taking a nice, decent amount of chunk damage right there from that ward that was placed ahead of time because Steve wasn't there. Theoretically, they could have made that a harder engage. And already we can see the power of this Karma pick in the bot lane. They're just basically going to try and force Goof out of lane as much as possible in order to kind of keep this going. But you've already got the Seraphine sustain, and that's just going to be a huge problem that RSL is going to have to deal with as this game progresses.
Yeah, and as we're getting into maybe a little bit of a slow laning phase start, we'll actually hold that thought. We're going to hit level 2 in that bottom side. And, doesn't look like a hard engage is going to come out, but the question I was going to ask is which of these two teams would look better on a hoodie?
Which of these two teams would look better on a hoodie? Well, you know, I think from a copyright standpoint, RSL is going to be a little bit easier to do. Just because I think they did commission it and there's a little bit more you can do that. The Goofy Goobers, just from a title perspective, I don't know if we can utilize some of that titling.
Either way, though, if you do want to check out the hoodies of our FOF winners, you can go to FOF.com/merch. As we see, Weakside Veteran missing an engage in the top lane. Atlas was there to follow it up, but it's not meant to be.
Yeah, not quite meant to be, and it is going to be kind of one of those things where this top lane is going to kind of, I think, go back and forth a little bit. Weakside's going to be looking for these hard engages. Rogue Trader, until they get a couple of items in, is going to be taking a lot of damage from those brittle procs. So Mordekaiser, once they've got the items, though, it's going to be really nice. Good use of the Claw and the Bellows Breath in order to prevent him from actually getting pulled in by the Mordekaiser. So that's going to be another thing that Ornn just has an advantage over Rogue Trader on.
Yeah, and Ornn getting that advantage in the early game. A Cull coming through for Weakside Veteran in that top lane is going to give Ornn even more scaling power. Getting off to an early lead is definitely something Ornn wants to see, because they're going to scale better than Rogue Trader throughout this game.
It is going to scale better, and just one thing to keep in mind, although we do mention those hoodies, the store is currently closed at the moment. It will be opening up here in a couple of weeks, though, as we get some more stock in place. Just something to keep in mind, because we're obviously going to want to see those exciting mythic and heroic winners on those hoodies. It's going to be really awesome, and I'm looking forward to getting some new ones.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so far it's been a really quiet early game and what has been a really bloody series, and neither of these junglers making too much happen in the early game. We've seen Red Milk Tea being the pace setter in both the previous two games, and so far both junglers pretty content to farm it out, and so far that is definitely favoring Red Milk Tea, who is a solid one camp ahead on this Viego thus far.
Yeah, and you know, because it's so slow, if you really want to, you can hop over to the FOF store, check out the FOF Connect, and we've got a new track actually out from Studio Sunga called A- that you can give a listen to as kind of like some background music while you play League of Legends and that sort of thing. And eventually we'll just have a whole album available, and it'll just be a nice long playlist to last you a whole game.
Absolutely, and yeah, so far it's been a really slow early game, but we see Perpetual Dusk build a very solid CS lead in bot lane. It's going to end up being about 5 once all this all these minions get collected. And so far, the Ezreal and the Karma have been done a pretty good job of not necessarily getting those health bars low, but just denying CS opportunities from Raccoon Acquire. Evan doing a lot of damage though, but the shield is through. So that does fit.
Yep. Evan doing a fantastic job with those Karma shields, blocking a lot of the damage that the headshots would be putting through, so that's allowing them to stay in lane for quite some time. They are going to go ahead and take this opportunity now to roam up towards mid lane, check out this dragon. We do see that the Ocean Drake is already available, but an early gank mid is going to be really, really good for them, because if they can get this kill on random, then they'll be able to have a huge amount of priority. As we can see, though, Seraphine already noticed they're missing and has roamed on their way up.
Yeah, and Raccoon Acquire does get spotted by a pink ward, defensive one within within the Goof jungle, and that is going to sniff out the play and shut it down for now. Ooh, poke coming through on Steve the Crusader.
Nice bit of decent amount of poke, and that did actually, it's going to be kind of interesting to see exactly how big of a difference it makes. With Steve walking away, it allowed Caitlyn to pick up some solo XP. So they were able to get ahead a little bit. We do see Kindred looking for a gank in this bot lane. The root's going to come out. Perpetual Dusk. Steve the Crusader is going to be caught out a little bit out of range, so the flash is going to have to pop in order for them to continue this engage. Raccoon does also pop the heal just for the safe side. So that is a couple of summoners down, and that is going to be really, really important for RSL, as they're going to have to pressure this advantage they've now given themselves, take this Drake, and in order to really kind of make sure that they can get the scaling into this late game and just overcome GOOF's potential damage that they're going to be dealing later.
Yeah, and it's been really effective so far, getting these early Drakes for these teams that has dictated so much of how the game goes on. And a nice summoner trade in the early game. You don't normally love jungler flash for support flash, but getting that heal as well is going to be quite nice for the side of RSL in this early game, and it's going to secure them an Ocean Drake, which puts them a little bit closer, and getting a little more sustain in this laning phase is quite nice, and not something that you normally get from Drakes, but the Ocean Drake this early in the game could pay dividends throughout the lane.
And I'm expecting this to eventually become a very explosive, very exciting game, as RSL's Atlas is considered, he is ranked 2 with their KP percentage, so hopefully we'll be seeing a lot of damage coming out, and that'll be some really fun fights. And right there,
in the mid lane.
Right here, fight in the mid lane. Nice bit of damage coming out. We do see Cinetrix doing some fancy footwork. That is going to be a 3v1. Random Capitals is able to actually get away, though. Nice bit of drop, avoiding a lot of that damage and able to get out of the slow. That was really well done by Random in order to be able to disengage like that. And that's going to be a lot of resources expunged just to try and take them down. But because the Akali managed to survive, that's going to potentially be really, really good for GOOF.
Yeah, and Caitlyn, meanwhile, gets to free farm in the bot lane while Perpetual Dusk roamed towards the play, so going to lose out on some minis and some experience to that tower. It is good for Atlas, however. You're going to pick up the enemy Raptors, pick up the enemy Krugs, which is nice because they just lost the red buff and the Raptors to Red Milk Tea. We've kind of been seeing some vertical jungling.
Yep, and that RSL taking the Raptors does mean that they managed to pick up a stack on Kindred, so that's already going to be one hunt down, and they're already starting to, once this Kindred comes online, it's going to be really, really scary for that Caitlyn, because eventually it'll be able to just match her in range.
Yeah, and that is the point you want to get Kindred to. Getting towards that range is going to allow Kindred to play as a more traditional AD carry, as Ezreal, a nice compliment, does provide a consistent AD damage and is playable within that marksman role, but isn't a traditional marksman, more relies on Mystic Shot to get the damage in, and as a result, Atlas may be going to have a little more scaling throughout this one as that more traditional marksman role. So far, we've seen about a 5,000 gold lead in favor of Goofy Goobers in this early game, and most of it's generated in jungle CS. Viego have been able to clear multiple camps that Kindred has not been able to match, and it is going to put that Viego in a more dominant position in this early game. And Viego is itemizing towards one of those critical strike items. The Noon Quiver in the inventory signals to me that it's not the more common Divine Sunderer build, and that they're going to look towards Red Milk Tea to carry.
Yeah, and Red Milk Tea being in that carry position is kind of something that we've been seeing a little bit these past couple of games. And Viego, we've seen as a champion, is just very, very strong. His kit is kind of one of those ones that's really difficult for Riot to just basically balance on their own anyway. So it's obviously going to have, it's in an overtuned state or undertuned state, depending on the situation. Look, we've got a nice engage in the mid lane. That is a good route, good use of these Shroud, though, in order to avoid a lot of damage, as they're just not able to target the Akali because they can't see her. And the Ezreal does manage to get a nice bit of damage with the ultimate from across the map, but unfortunately just not quite enough to secure a kill. And then Evan trying to get that poke continue off. We do see the Ace of the Hole coming out. It's going to manage to find the Lissandra slipping on by. In the meantime, in the top lane, we've got a fight going on as well. And again, it's just lots of fight, lots of damage, but not enough to secure a kill yet. These teams are still trying to level themselves up, get those items out, and then they're just basically focusing on the CS, trying to get these gold leads.
Yeah, Akali and Mordekaiser are really the only champions packing a huge punch at this stage of the game, and their opponents have been really tough to kill. The Ornn and the Lissandra are champions that are notoriously slippery and hard to kill, with both having that resolve tree in tow. And Steve the Crusader knows not to walk into that tri-bush. Would have been really bad if Karmos hit that level 6, would be able to root her up. Meanwhile, Cinetrix may be in trouble. Red Milk Tea looking for a dive angle, but not quite willing to pull the trigger on that one. Not quite low enough, and Cinetrix going to have to recall.
Yeah, Viego's just not quite there yet. They did manage to pick up the Rift Herald earlier, though, so that does mean that they're going to get some nice damage on this mid lane turret, get themselves a couple of plates, allow this Akali to get some more damage off on it as well. We do see that the plate buff does prevent them from picking up this third one quickly, so that is going to allow Atlas to come up and stop this push. Now that they've gotten both of those down, though, we do see Drakes coming up here in about 20 seconds. So with that Drake on the board, the priority has shifted in the bot lane to where it's able to allow RSL to respond.
Yeah, and RSL's bot lane has roamed up to the play. Meanwhile, mid lane is at an even keel, so we're going to have to
Random capitals. You keep getting caught out in these situations. Once again, dropping the smoke bomb, able to get themselves out. That is the fourth gank, I think, in the mid lane that they just have not been able to catch this assassin. And it's been really a lot of resources and a lot of time spent trying to kill this mid laner.
Yeah, but the kill isn't what's important in this play. It's getting Akali under that tower and letting RSL get to the Drake first, but now a full fight's going to break out.
The full fight does break out. The smite battle is won by Red Team. We do see RSL managing to pick up that kill. Everyone is jumping inside of the Kindred ult. Red Milk Tea is having to jump over the wall to try and stay alive. The first blood finally comes out as the Inferno Drake comes onto the field, and look at this, lots of damage coming out right here. Random capitals continuing this fight. Atlas barely managing to get out, and Caitlyn picking up the kill, taking down both Kindred and Israel. That is going to be huge. That is a double kill going over for GOOF. So while they may have lost the Drake, they did manage to get a lot of damage out and a lot of gold in return. And in the meantime, the Death Realm has been dropped onto Weak Side Veteran. Weak Side is able to just walk away, though. He knows that he's comfortable and he's safe. He's just walking around these bushes trying to get away back to the safety of their turret, and they are able to. That fight was really decisive, and in the end, it basically resulted in an even matchup.
Yeah, that being said, the Dragon does go over to the side of RSL, and with a more scaling team, you're going to be really happy to have that attack speed on your side, and especially for the Kindred, for the Ezreal, that stat is very nice, and it does put them one Drake closer to securing a late-game soul, and it's essentially fewer mistakes that Goofy Goofers can make in the mid-game and the late game, because even though the gold lead has started to balloon a little bit, it's about a 1.2 thousand in the favor of Goofers right now, but Rogue Trader might be in trouble.
Yeah, Rogue Trader's going to get caught into this fight. He's going to be brought into this, getting brought very, very low. However, the Viego is already there. Red Milk Tea on his way up because he saw where the Kindred was trying to go in the first place. That is going to be a double kill as Kindred manages to pick up yet another one. Sorry, that was the Viego as Kindred picking up the kill. So that is going to be Red Milk Tea getting themselves a double kill. We see Cinetrix now getting forced back under turret. They're not able to get away. The Raccoon picking up yet another kill. That is going to be 3 for none, as unfortunately they were unable to pick up the Mordekaiser, and that's also going to mean that this Gromp is still available for Goof to just take away from the Kindred. So that's going to be huge.
Atlas pursuing the hunt before focusing on how many people can show up to stop you. Mordekaiser is not an easy target to take out, and Atlas, with only one hunt stack to their name so far, it's going to make it really difficult to take down that target. And as a result, Rogue Trader able to get out scot-free, and 3 return kills over the side of the Goofy Goobers is going to accelerate this one quite a bit. Not what RSL wanted to see.
Yeah, Mordekaiser is really the original Grit Master, as he is the first one to have that damage scaling shield that just can be really, really devastating and really much of a disruption to these fights. We do see some lane rotations happening right here. Akali in this top lane with Weak Side Veteran in order to try and get this free CS. And we are going to be seeing Mordekaiser coming back here momentarily in order to get to this mid lane.
Oh, a teleport.
Nice teleport coming in. We do see Mordekaiser trying to get onto the Lissandra, but Lissandra's just going to walk themselves over the wall. So that's going to be Cinetrix once again having to walk away from this lane. Free Rift Held for Goof to pick up.
Yeah, I really like that teleport play, and a lot of the plays in this game have never been about the kill. It's about where do you force your opponent to move, and as a result, what objectives you can grab. And we saw RSL do it earlier, which resulted in them grabbing out Hextech Drake, and now Goofy Goobers are taking that page out of the handbook and are going to use that to pick up the Herald for themselves, and that could be really any tower that they want to choose going down across the map.
Yeah, and as we can see, we've got the ultimate from Ezreal coming across the map. Great vision, though, placed down by RSL in order to try and see exactly where everyone is on this map. It's one of those situations where you know that GOOF wants to find these hard engages, but they're just not quite able to do it, and RSL is just kind of all split around the map. It's really starting to drift in their favor, and they've already, like we said, extended this lead to 3K, so that's going to be a little bit of a mountain that RSL is going to have to get over.
Yeah, but they should be okay to do it, though. All they need to do is slow down the pace of the game. Ornn starts hitting critical mass at about level 13. That's when his ornaments start to come through. And then at level 14 onwards, it begins to spread them throughout the rest of the team. So only 2 levels to go until those boons start coming through. And when that starts happening, the gold lead, however big it may be, does get significantly smaller. And as a result, those upgrades that don't take any additional item slots is going to give RSL the late game advantage. So as long as they can slow it down, as long as weak side veteran can pick up that solo XP, and as long as they don't get caught here, it could be in big trouble.
We're seeing they're getting caught out. We see that the ace in the hole is going to get launched out. The shot is going to go off though, and unfortunately the target's going to be killed before it has a chance to hit. We do see Karma able to escape and get away. Weak side veteran though, kind of getting caught out themselves, but they're just such a tanky boy that they're able to walk through all that damage and not have to worry about it. Caitlyn only taking 1 pot shot, but that's going to be a free Infernal Drake left over for GOOF as they managed to just get that decisive disengage from RSL. And that's going to be a really good amount of pressure for GOOF to kind of start trying to push into this endgame. I mean, look at this dive that's about to happen.
Here comes the dive.
Yep, as we can see, the tower gets enveloped by the black mist. We see Lissandra going into their glacial prison. Unfortunately, that's going to mean a lot of tower shots are going against GOOF. There's a lot of fancy footwork coming out, but that's going to be a nice bit of healing as well as Random Capitals manages to survive. That was very well done by RSL to try and stall it out as best they could, but unfortunately wasn't long enough. But it does allow Atlas the opportunity to take this mid turret.
Yeah, Cinetrix, while going down, and it was a good dive, able to pick up the mid tower for Atlas is going to put a nice influx of gold into that Kindred's inventory. I think Atlas has to be the important member of RSL to get gold right now and to start scaling into this game as the critical scaling late game threat. And picking up that mid tower is nice to open up the map for them to get more enemy camps as well as the gold itself. That local gold from the mid tower and that global gold that it provides is nice. And as a result, the gold lead has started to shrink a little bit, even though things have been going the way of Goofy Gurus. It's gone from 4 to 3.5. RSL maybe starting to get that slow-paced game that they want to, weak side veteran, 1 level away from that critical point.
They may be able to shrink that gold lead, and if they manage to take out the Caitlyn, it'll shrink even more because that is a nice bounty that is sitting on that ADC. Rogue Trader trying to bait this out, but unfortunately it looks like they revealed themselves a little bit too early, so weak side veteran knows to back up to the turret. However, because of the fact that no damage was put down, that means that the turret's going to fall before it actually takes any shots. And that is going to be a nice bit of pressure relieved for GOOF. We see Lissandra trying to go in on Random Capitals right here. Cinetrix trying to get some damage off, but unfortunately, again, this assassin, even though they're taking those tower shots, is still able to just do so much, dodging these Qs coming out, and that is going to be a glacial prison in order to heal themselves back up. Cinetrix, as the sustain, they're going to be looking for this re-engage, not choosing to take it, surprisingly.
Yeah, they don't know where opposing members of the Goofy Goobers are, and Cinetrix playing it really safe there. I really think that there was an opportunity there to Glacial Prison the Akali and get that extra bit of damage on top of her, and then might have been able to pick up that kill, but Cinetrix, importantly, staves off the engage, and that's exactly the way RSL wants to play right now.
Yeah, they want to stall this game out as best they can. You can see right here, they're trying to get this Rift Herald taken out before it has a chance to charge. They're not quite able to do it, and so the charge does manage to come out, but Raccoon is going to get their health brought down to just a quarter as we already see them walking away. We've got 2 members of Goofy Goobers protecting their ADC, making sure they're able to get out just fine. And just look at the amount of healing that came out from that one Seraphine heal.
Yeah, Seraphine getting pretty monstrous. Has a decent amount of gold for support.
Ooh, Evan with an eye, looking to stop this back. Does actually manage to catch Steve the Crusader. Steve's going to have to flash away in order to avoid the primary engage. In the meantime, Red Milk Tea stopping Atlas from actually continuing on to the mid lane turret. We do see the Black Mist coming out as they're trying to just find this path into this fight. They do flash on top of the Kindred. Atlas is going to be taken very, very low. The ultimate's going to get dropped as we see that the Death Realm was brought down as well. Rogue Trader in order to stave off this Kindred. We see the Akali on the backline taking out Perpetual Dusk. Does manage to assassinate the ADC, which means that their main target is now out of this fight. And that is going to be huge as we see that the Cinetrix was also killed during all of that. And that is going to be a free Baron. And unfortunately, Rogue Trader going golden. Probably unintentionally. Akali continuing this fight onto the Ornn. We just see Ornn and Karma left right now. That is going to be a nice route. Random Capitals, though, doing a good job to stave that off. Evan looking for an engage over that wall. We could be seeing something spicy happen here in a moment.
Yeah, I wanted to see the
Smite come out, though.
Yeah, I want to see the Horn come through, make things spicy, but realistically, that was always going to be Goofy Goober's Baron for the taking, and they've really started to balloon this one out. It's 6,000 gold in their pockets. Baron is in their pockets. 40 seconds still an Infernal Drake. They're going to have great priority for that. And RSL, they finally got the ornament through on Ornn himself, but they really need to start getting on their champions to make up for the item deficit that started to appear in the jungle, in the mid lane, in the bot lane, most of all. And it's going to be really important for Ornn to get those levels, and we see him alone in the side lane.
Yeah, unfortunate as this has been for RSL. They're trying to find these engages, not quite able to find them. Rogue Trader disrupting that back from weak side veteran going in on this, and we're seeing the pool noodle fight go on once again in this top lane. Just kind of just walking down, making his way downtown, walking slow, not fast. Raccoon, though, is the one who's actually going to be taking a lot of damage right here, trying to back off, trying to stay alive. Not going to be able to. That is going to be a huge shutdown going onto the Kindred, which is the target they need to be getting this gold on so that they're able to try and build these items in order to go after these targets. But look at that. Red Milk Tea goes on a killing spree, managing to find their target, managing to get that kill. The Ninja Assassin, though, finding the Ezreal and able to just take them out. But this right here is going to be a Infernal Drake going over to the side of Goofy Goobers, and more damage is something that RSL does not want to see on this board.
Yeah, it's definitely unfortunate for them that second drink is going to fall, but Random Capital's been a monster out of this Akali all series, able to assassinate Perpetual Dusk over and over again, and a bit of a tough game for them, 0-4-1 on the Ezreal, but that being said, it's going to be Goobers taking away that mid lane inner towers, the Baron. It's approaching its end for the most part, and a good power play. It picks them up the Infernal Drake. It brings the gold lead out another 1,000 to 2,000 gold. That being said, though, time is always going to be on RSL's side. This game does not look that close to being over, and even though the fights haven't been going their way, Kindred, critical shutdown onto a very fed Raccoon Inquiry, is going to put a solid 800 gold in their inventory from that one, and that means the Phantom Dancer, that second item, is through for Kindred, and we can start to see maybe the damage starts to pump out of this.
Yeah, we'll hopefully start to see some damage. We will see a lot more of a speedy Kindred walking through those minions, which is going to be really important because we have been seeing the Seraphine do a great job with that Arctic, the glacial augment in order to prevent these engages and just keep people from moving around. So that's going to be really useful for the Kindred right there. Overall, though, we are seeing Goofy Goober's comp come online, and we're already starting to see it disrupts so much of what RSL wants to do that it has allowed them to balloon this game in their favor. So it is a huge uphill battle for RSL, but it's still not over yet.
Definitely not over yet, as we start to see the second items now coming through for most of the members of RSL, finally catching up a little bit. We got the Anathemas coming out for Ornn. We talked about the Phantom Dancer. Lysandra is quite close to getting that Hourglass. Had to make a detour for the Oblivion Orb, and Ezreal's still a little far behind, but trying to make their way. I believe that's going to be Sorelda's Grudge, the second item coming through for Ezreal this game. Might actually be, no, sorry, it's going to be Manamune before the Sorelda's.
Yeah, the Manamune's definitely going to be coming out because they've already got that the crystal, the mana crystal, already kind of built up. The tier already filled up completely. There we go. I was forgetting my names there for a second. I was like, I know it's a drop. I just can't remember what kind of a dewdrop it is. We do expect to see, though, that Anathemas I'm expecting to get put onto the Akali just because of how much damage they need to see that champion down, knock it up. Look at this huge knockup coming out from Ornn. Weak side veteran is able to just do so much damage with these brittle procs that they're able to chunk the Akali out. So you got to keep that fancy footwork up, and you can only do it for so long.
Yeah, weak side veteran able to kind of put the heart down as this Ornn starts scaling. Ornn's passive does give him extra HP, armor, and magic resist from the items they pick up. So obviously, the more items Ornn gets, the more tankier the Ornn is going to be. Also, level 14, pretty critical breakpoint. That's going to be the Kraken Slayer upgrade for Atlas on that Kindred. Going to increase the amount of damage over time this Kindred is able to put out.
Ooh, nice engage. Good pull onto Cinetrix. Cinetrix getting yanked back into the side of Goof, and this is a nice engage on Goof's part, and they're able to basically kind of be like, hey, you want to hang out under this tower? That's fine. You're going to have to get the rest of your team to come over and help. And once again, we've got Akali in this top lane, ducking around the Ornn. Weak side just not able to find those targets, but look at this. We got a huge knockup, huge random capitals getting brought exceptionally low, but that fancy footwork, once again, coming out in favor of them, and that just means that they're able to walk away from that without getting taken out, and that is a huge bounty still sitting right on their head.
Yeah, really nice work from weak side veteran, though. Even though you don't get the kill, it's really tough on Akali, right? Ornn doesn't move that fast, and Akali with that perfect execution, sure, could flip going everywhere, but able to get Akali off that top wave lets Ornn go back to base, and with level 15 picked up, able to give over another ornament. Not able to give it to Ezreal yet. There's no Mythic in his inventory, unfortunately, so going to have to go walk over to Cinetrix in the mid lane. He might be getting collapsed on.
Yeah, Cinetrix might be getting collapsed on. We do see them getting that ornament put on them, so that is going to be ornament number 2 put into the field, and that is going to be a huge boost for Cinetrix. Those items really can't be discounted.
Definitely not. They have a lot of scaling potential, and just the fact that our RSL's items are going to be better than GOOF's items.
Oh, did you see the damage that Q did? Evan getting smacked on the head with that maul, just getting absolutely wrecked and decimated by Rogue Trader. That was just a huge amount of damage.
Yeah, and it's going to mean that the third Infernal Drake is going to be Goofy Goobers to take. There's nothing that RSL are going to be able to do about it. They're going to have to try and find random capitals, but been slippery all game. I don't have anything to dissuade me from thinking it'll still be slippery now. Rogue Trader
getting caught out and finding out why you've got to watch out for this Mordekaiser. Look at that damage. The Ace in the Hole is going to be coming from across the map. Does manage to check out a lot of damage for Cinetrix, but that is going to be the shutdown as Perpetual Dusk manages to pick up the kill. But look at this. The Akali's come in, found her target, and has collected the gold that she wanted for that bounty. And then we see they're going to basically be moving over to this Baron, and that is yet another objective for Goofy Goobers that they're going to be able to take with very little to say from the side of RSL.
That being said, another shutdown picked up for Kindred means the QSS is in the inventory. Random
Capital's getting knocked up, having to go golden just to stay alive. The rest of Goofy has decided, you know what, the Baron's fine, but we want to get these kills first. We're just going to finish this off. The Ornn's trying to get their ultimate off, not able to get the horn call in order to get
There's a stack!
Shutdown. That is a huge stack as the shutdown comes out for Atlas. We do see Cinetrix being brought very low. The Caitlyn getting the pot shots off. We got Cinetrix going golden, but it's only a matter of time as the sniper just lines up her shot.
I know that the kills have time and time again been going to the favor of Goofy Goobers, but this Atlas's Kindred is now hit a very critical point. Another shutdown in their inventory goes a long way in terms of itemization, as well as another stack picked up. I want to say that that was Kindred's 4th stack, if I've been counting correctly. Going to be that first massive 75 range increase. Gives Kindred a lot more room to maneuver in these fights, away from the Akali, away from the Viego, and that's when they're going to be a lot more safe to output the damage.
And because of that, we might finally start to see RSL clinging on for dear life. This is not the end times for them yet. They are still trying to bring out the game-winning plays here, and they're just doing a fantastic job. Rogue Trader being a little cheeky and trying to bait this in, but there you go. This is why you got to be careful when you're being cheeky with the Mordekaiser, because he's just going to death realm you and you're going to be stuck with him. Look at that. Evan basically getting completely exploded, and they're going to be giving the kill over to Raccoon. Oh, you hate to see it when that happens.
Yeah, and this time 5 versus 4, I don't think they're going to be able to stop the Baron again. Atlas going to have to come up with some brave heroics to make it happen.
They certainly are. We are seeing them try to maneuver their way over here, but the damage is just coming out so darn quickly. They're not going to be able to make it in time. So not only are they going to lose the Baron, that's going to be a bounty taken off of the board. And then right here, we do see Random Capitals going in on the Lissandra, trying to get their target. Not able to do it, though. Not able to deal enough damage quickly enough, but they're okay with that. We just see Goofy going like, it's fine. We can just back off. We got what we wanted. That would have been icing on the cake. But you know what? This game is still very much in hand.
Yeah, it's definitely going the way of Goofy Goobers right now. Gold lead out to 7,000. Very solid lead for them. Second Baron in their pocket. 2 minutes until Infernal Soul for the side of Goofy Goobers. And if they pick that one up, no amount of scaling is really going to save RSL at that point. There's going to be so much additional damage. 6% per stack of that Infernal Drake. Math says 24, but I know that's not how percentages work. That being said, it's a lot of damage in their pocket as well as that extra explosion. Meanwhile, Weak Side Veteran hitting level 16 does mean that there's another ornament to come through, and I'm curious to see if they're going to use it now on the Karma. Yes, it is going to go on Evan with an eye and going to wait until level 17 for Perpetual Dust to finish, but I imagine as a Crowned Shatter Queen. Weak Side Veteran not taking the safe side in the mid lane, but it should be fine.
And, you know, we talk about these gold leads being massively in the side of Goofy Goobers. However, at the same time, we've also seen C9, I think it was, throw away a 10k gold lead, so it's still anyone's game. The Nexus is still available. The huge sniper shot slipping around the back of the Orn manages to find Evan with an eye, basically taking him out of the next set of these fights here about to happen. And we see that the Mordekaiser has jumped on top of the Orn. The Death Realm has come out. Massive maul slammed into the ground. Sorry, the Death Realm now came out against the Lissandra. Sinistrix having to go golden using the Glacial Prison. They do manage to survive the realm, but they are going to be brought out of commission and into the rest of the Goofy Goobers, and that is going to be a massive devastation to Ragnarok. The shutdown, though, going over the Kindred, but it's too little too late. Good use on that ultimate, staying alive, managed to go involved in just the last possible second for Atlas, but not going to be enough, and that's going to be another set of damages. We see Red Milk Tea taking out Evan with an eye, and that is going to be the double kill for the Caitlyn on the edge of that Q, and that is going to be a Baron push for the game-ending game win.
33 minutes, Goofy Goobers put an end to it. They grab that second Baron buff, and they're able to eliminate systematically every member of RSL. And now it's match point in their favor as they go up 2-1. All the momentum is in their hands.
That was such a devastating blow from Goofy Goobers onto Ragnarok Esports. However, there is still behind win from RSL, and
really give themselves their best shot in Game 4. They have to take Random Capitals off the Sakali. Been devastating on it in all 3 games thus far, and we saw how much pressure they tried to focus towards it and shutting it down. They counterpicked it with Lissandra. They ganked it time and time again. They 4-man ganked it time and time again, and it never, ever went down. Random Capitals, very, very good at this champion. You gotta take it away.
The fancy footwork is just a little bit too much, and it can just it's so tricky trying to lock it down. With that, though, folks, we're going to be right back with an interview from my winners, and then we're going to be taking a quick. Oh, that's right. We got to. Yeah, sorry, I forgot that we was doing the best of 5 thing and not doing interviews after every single game, which is what I was thinking in my head. So just grab a copy of the FOF Connect. Take a quick little break, and we'll be right back with Game 4 of our Best of 5 series between Ragnarok Esports Loki and the Goofy Goobers.
Remember, I used to be that kid that every day would get rejected. Y'all got my story, the glory was painted on a song. I'm mortified but feel immortal. This pen to this paper always open up different portals. It's I and me, it's me and I'm by myself. I'm down the ride, I'm taking on the tide. Size of tsunamis touching the sky. I got a quick scan. It's time to move, leaving everything else behind. I got something to prove. I'm just riding away, no, I ain't running away. I got memories said, oh, I'm just finding my place where I belong to. Feeling glory in my soul. Hey, I'm riding away, I'm finding my place, yeah. Gotta escape, yeah, that's what I gotta do. See you on the other side, see you on the other side, see you on the other side. We all know.
Constantly changing, always rearranging, always rearranging, always rearranging. That is constantly changing, always rearranging, always rearranging. Constantly changing, always rearranging, always rearranging, always rearranging. That is constantly changing, always rearranging, always rearranging, always rearranging.